Welcome to the City Council's November 30th Special City Council meeting. This is a hybrid meeting with City Council, city staff, and members of the public participating in City Council chambers in accordance with public health guidelines for in-person meetings and participating remotely to promote social distancing in this federal, state, and local emergency. For those in virtual attendance, please note that there is a globe icon near the hand feature on your screen. This will allow you to listen and participate in tonight's event in Spanish. Our interpreters this evening are Lorna Silva and Gilberto Martin. Thank you for your time and services this evening. I would like to introduce City Council members and staff present. Vice Mayor Jen Willison, City Council members Drew Combs and Ray Mueller. City Council Taylor is absent. Staff present include City Manager Justin Murphy, City Attorney Nara Doherty, and City Clerk Judy Heron. City Clerk Heron, would you please provide instructions to the City Council and members of the public on how the meeting will proceed?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Nash. So at this time, I'd like to welcome you all to our November 30th Special City Council meeting. For members of the public who wish to provide comment on an item on tonight's agenda, after the mayor calls for public comment on that item for our virtual attendees, we ask that you engage that hand feature in the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in from a landline or a cell phone, you can press *9. For any of our in-person attendees, there are speaker cards on the back table, which can be completed and then returned to my desk up here. And that concludes my introductions at this time. Thank you.
Agenda review. Agenda review provides advance notice to members of the public and city staff of any modifications to the agenda order and any requests from City Council members under City Council member reports. Does the City Council wish to pull or modify any agenda item? Public hearing. This public hearing was held at a regular City Council meeting on Tuesday, November 15th, 2022, and was continued to Wednesday, November 30th, 2022. City Council Member Combs, can you please announce your recusal for this item?
Yeah, I'm recused from this item because Facebook is my employer and they're the property owner in connection with this agenda item.
Thank you. The public hearing is D1. Consider the Planning Commission's recommendation to approve the proposed project with modifications and adopt a resolution to 1, certify the final environmental impact report, final EIR, making the California Environmental Quality Act findings, including the statement of overriding considerations for significant and unavoidable impacts, and approve the mitigation monitoring and reporting program. 2, adopt a resolution to amend the general plan circulation element. 3, adopt resolutions to approve the vesting tentative maps for the proposed project, read the title and waive further reading of ordinances. 4, amend the city zoning map, rezone the project site for RMUB and OB to RMUBX and OBX to include the X, conditional development overlay, and approve the conditional development permit. And 5, adopt the development agreement. And 6, adopt a resolution to approve the below market housing agreements for the proposed Willow Village Master Plan project located at 1350 to 1390 Willow Road, 925 to 1098 Hamilton Avenue, and 1005 to 1275 Hamilton Court, 1399 and 1401 Willow Road, and 871 to 883 Hamilton Avenue. First of all, I want to thank everyone for calling in and for attending in person in the council chambers. Many thanks also for the written comments we have received. Input from the public is important to the City Council's work in setting city policy, and large land use project like Willow Village particularly benefits from the input. Given the absence of a City Council member and the magnitude and importance of this project to the city, I think it's really important to have all City Council members who can vote on the item be present for the item. Given this, I don't think we should vote on this item this evening, and therefore all deliberations on this item should be continued until all City Council members are available to participate. I'd now like to open for City Council consideration. City Attorney Doherty, could you please provide direction on continuing this public hearing to the December 6th City Council meeting?
Sure. If the City Council would like to continue the hearing, it can do so to a date certain of December 6th. We'd want to take by either acclamation or vote, hear from a majority of council members that they wish to continue the item.
City Clerk Karen, would you please take a vote?
Yes, so if we want to do an official vote, we can do a motion and second, or because we have all of the City Council members in person who can deliberate on this item, I can take it by acclamation.
Certainly.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
My understanding this evening is that the applicant was aware that our council member would be not present and understood beforehand. So I'm totally fine with that. So there's no way we can vote on this without Councilmember Taylor here. So
thank you. So again, I want to thank members of the public for their interest in this project. We received public comment at the December 15th public hearing. To provide additional comment, I encourage you to send your comments to city.council@menlopark.org. Your comments will be forwarded to all members of the council, executive management, and will be available for the public to view online. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we have continued this item to December 6th so that Councilmember Taylor can attend. For all of you who have come tonight in person or virtually to keep track of this item, thank you for your patience until then. Finally, I want to thank staff and the applicant for their hard work and for their patience with this process. We will now move on to regular business. Under regular business, the City Council considers recommendations from city staff on policy matters or administrative actions that require City Council approval. Oh, thank you. We need to have Councilmember Combs return.
Thank you. I will message Councilmember now. City Council Member Combs, are you back online?
I'm back.
Thank you so much. Mayor Nash, you may continue.
Thank you. Under regular business, the City Council considers recommendations from staff on policy matters or administrative matters that require City Council approval. The regular business item tonight is E1, direction on City Council seat vacancy. To introduce the item is City Clerk Judy Herron.
Thank you, Mayor Nash. So the item before the City Council this evening is requesting direction on the City Council vacancy resulting from the resignation of City Council Member Mueller in District 5. According to Ordinance Number 1092 and Government Code Section 36512, the City Council can appoint or call a special election to fill a City Council vacancy within 60 days of the creation of the vacancy. If the City Council fills the vacancy by appointment, the person appointed to fill the vacancy shall hold office pursuant to one of the following: If the appointment occurs before December 16th of 2022, then the vacancy will occur in the first half of City Council Member Mueller's term of office and at least 130 days before the next general municipal election. This means that a person appointed to office would serve until the next general municipal election in November of 2023. Thereafter, the person elected at the November 2023 election would fill the vacancy for the unexpired balance of the term of office, which is December of 2024. If the appointment occurs after December 16th of 2022, then the vacancy will occur in the second half of City Council Member Mueller's term of office, and the person appointed to fill the vacancy shall hold office for the unexpired term, which again is December of 2024. Given the requirements of City Council Resolution number 6775, the appointment would likely occur after the December 16th, 2022 date. If the City Council directs the appointment to fill the vacancy tonight, November 30th, staff will begin the process for appointment. Immediately following this meeting, staff will begin polling the City Council for availability for a special meeting to conduct candidate interviews and make the appointment. Given newspaper publishing timelines, responses to this poll will be required by 10 a.m. tomorrow, December 1st. Staff will also begin advertising in local online media and social media and the city's website on December 1st. On December 3rd and 6th, the notice of vacancy will be published in newspapers of general circulation. December 6th through December 20th, the application acceptance period will open and then close. December 21st through December 31st would be the council's opportunity to interview qualified applicants and then elect by motion at a special meeting. If the City Council directs calling a special election, the special election must be held at the next regularly established election date, not less than 114 days from the call of the election. Calling of the special election must occur within 60 days of the vacancy, which is January 3rd of 2023. The person elected to fill the vacancy will take office for the unexpired term of the former incumbent, which is December of 2024. Since the special election must be held on a date not less than 114 days from the date which the special election is called, the city would not be able to hold a special election March 10th of 2023, which is a statewide election date. The only other date for a polling place election is November 7th of 2023. The city may also be able to conduct the special election by an all mail-in ballot election. The cost of a special general municipal polling place election and an all mail-in ballot election are identical. Staff is pending information from the county elections office related to the timing of when an all mail-in election can occur. If the City Council directs the calling of a special election, staff will return to the City Council after the resignation becomes effective, which is January 3rd of 2023, with a resolution calling the special election. This does conclude my presentation. Happy to answer any follow-up questions or open to public comment.
Thank you. City Clerk Karen, please call for public comments on this item.
Thank you, Mayor Nash. So at this time, if any member of the public wishes to speak on item E1, direction on City Council seat vacancy, please engage that hand feature in the bottom of your screen. If you're calling in from a landline or a cell phone, please press *9. If participating in person, please complete a speaker card on that back table and return it to my desk. This will be the final call for public comment on our regular business item E1. Seeing no speakers, Mayor Nash, you may continue.
Thank you. We are now open for a city council discussion. City Council Member Mueller.
I don't, to be candid, if the council does want to call a special election at some point, I defer to you all on that. The only thing that I would raise to you for consideration on the appointment is that the city will be doing the housing element on January, that has to get done in January after I'm gone. I think it probably makes sense to have someone from District 5 as part of that process. So, but beyond that, I leave the rest to your complete discretion.
Councilmember Combs, do you have comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Nash. And so I just want to understand, when is the earliest the council can call a special election, whether it's like a polling and mail special election, or whether it's like all mail? Does it do you know exactly, or is in all cases the earliest it can happen is in November of 2023?
So there's the calling of the election and the holding of the election. The election can be called anytime after the vacancy is created, which will be either when Councilmember Mueller becomes a county supervisor by operation of the Doctrine of Incompatible Offices, or January, or when someone is appointed, which would not be triggered here if we're calling an election. So the vacancy would occur no later than January 1st, or the date that he is made a county supervisor, because his resignation stated that the vacancy that his resignation would be effective no later than January 1st. So anytime after that, as early as January 2nd, the city could call the election. For the holding of the election can't be held any earlier than 114 days after it's called. So that would be 114 days after January 2nd. That would be the earliest time that it could be held. If it is a polling place election, an in-person election, it can only happen at a regularly established election date, which in 2023 is only March and November. There's no June regularly established polling place election in California in odd numbered years. We wouldn't meet the March deadline because it can't be held any earlier than 114 days after it's called. So for a polling place election, the absolute earliest and the absolute latest the election could be held would be November 2023. For mail-in ballots, there's different statutes that apply, and we have reached out to the county elections office to ascertain when they would be willing to hold a mail-in election. And we have received some guidance, but we are not certain that we are in agreement necessarily on whether or not a mail-in ballot can or cannot be held once the vacancy is created. We will work out with the county whether or not a mail-in ballot can be used in this process, but the absolute earliest, based on the state laws regarding mail-in ballot timing, the absolute earliest that a mail-in ballot election could be held would be May 2nd, 2023, up to August 29th, 2023. And then the polling place election would be November, as I already said. And I'm happy to explain those statutes in greater detail if you'd be interested in that.
Thanks. And so then when it comes to the appointment process, what are there restrictions to us being able to appoint until the next regular election day, which would be meeting all the parameters, which would be November? Like, can we only appoint until a special election if this happens before December 16th? Or does the option to appoint just until a special election exist, even if this takes place after December 16th?
No, you had it right the first time. So if the appointment occurs after December 16th, then the vacancies in the second half of Councilmember Mueller's term and the appointed person must fill the vacancy until 2024. If the appointment occurs in the first half before December 16th, then the appointed person must hold office until November 2023, at which point the rest of the term will be filled by election. And we do not have discretion.
Okay, thanks. I'll share my initial comments. I mean, my preference is for city council positions to be filled as a result of elections by eligible voters in whatever that district boundaries are. And so I'll be very
Councilmember
frank.
Combs,
Yeah.
You're coming in a little muffled.
Okay, so sorry about that. Can you hear me better now? I think. Can you hear me better now?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So again, my preference is their default is to allow voters to choose their elected officials rather than elected officials choosing other elected officials. But given the specific parameters and circumstances, it seems as though there's really no way to allow the voters to have a say in filling this position unless we go down the road of allowing it to be essentially vacant for the majority of 2023. And so I think weighing what is in I would see as the outcome that is the least bad outcome, I should say. It would be to make or go the appointment route again, because the alternative is just to allow, like I say, the position to go unfilled for most of 2023. So I think that's where I'm leaning at this moment.
Vice Mayor Willison.
Thank you. And I'm pretty much in alignment with my colleagues here. I think we all, believe in democracy and letting the voters weigh in. But as Councilmember Mueller mentioned, the housing element, and there's a lot of business that needs to be conducted in the city, and we definitely want representation throughout the city in that process. So I'm inclined to go with the appointment process as well.
I agree. I think Councilmember Combs stated it exactly right, that it's preferable to do an election, but given the timeline and as my colleagues have said, with all the important projects in front of us and work to do, I think that an appointment is necessary. So would anyone like to make more comments, or are we ready to make a motion? Would someone like to make a motion and a second?
If the clerk will put back onto the screen the timeline set forth, I can make a motion in the staff report.
So this is the timeline from the presentation.
So I would just move that the council adopt the schedule set forth in the presentation for appointment.
I'll second that.
City Clerk Karen, could you please restate the motion and call for the vote?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Nash. So I have a motion on the floor by
Sorry.
City Council Member Willison and a second by,
It's a first by Mueller, second by Wellison.
so sorry. Thank you. So I have a first by City Council Member Mueller and a second by Vice Mayor Willison to direct staff to fill the vacancy by appointment with the schedule as presented. Any further City Council question or discussion? Seeing none, by roll call vote, City Council Member Combs,
Yes.
City Council Member Mueller,
Yes.
City or Vice Mayor Willison,
Yes.
Mayor Nash,
Yes.
and the motion passes with City Council Member Taylor absent.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else we need to do tonight as far as the polling or anything else that will be done offline?
Yes, so I will be emailing the entire City Council this evening to begin the polling process for December 21st through the 31st. Of course, I'll be shortening those dates and getting that off to you following this meeting and then following up again tomorrow as needed.
Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.